Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just want to do a check, ensure that everyone can hear me, and then there are no audio issues. Just go into the comment section and let me know if you can hear me. And then we will get right into the stream today. We got quite a bit to talk about. Hello, how's everyone doing? I just want to make sure everyone can hear me. Make sure everything looks good. I'm about to change over to the next one. Give me a second. Just let me know that you can hear me in the comments in the chat. You should be able to, but I'm not 100% sure if you will. All right, folks, let's get right into the stream now. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We do have this system right here. This is the one that we are going to be talking about, as it has been designated, I think, 94E. Yeah, Invest Tropical System Invest 94E. It's a broad area of low pressure, which as it continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms offshore Central America. Environmental conditions are expected to be conducive for gradual development of this system, and a tropical depression is likely to form by the middle of this week while moving westward to west-northwestward just offshore the coast of El Salvador, Guatemala, and southwestern Mexico. Now, over the next 48 hours, it does have a medium chance. Oh, hold on. There's a double audio. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Checking again, making sure you can. Is it good now? I accidentally had two mics on somehow. What is this? Warning the stream. Okay, what is this? There's an issue with the stream all of a sudden. The stream's current bit rate is lower. I don't know. It says that there's something wrong with the bit rate. If everything on the end of the stream looks good, it sounds good, you can see everything clearly, there's no issues, then good. I just want to make sure everything's good. All right, cool. So once again, this is the system that we are talking about right here, right off the coast of Central America. Formation chance is medium over the next 48 hours at around 40%. However, the next 5 days, it is high at 70%. But take a look at the forecast graphic for the next 7 days. Here we go. We still do got Tropical Storm Dalila there right off the coast of Mexico at around 50 miles an hour, 999 millibars. Moving to the west-northwest there at 9 miles an hour, moving away from land. Really no need to even really talk about this as it is dissipating. It's falling apart. There's no watches or warnings either. Now taking a look at the latest satellite imagery of this system. Once again, they're right off the coast of Mexico. We do have quite a lot of robust convection with the system. It is still relatively disorganized, and we are still currently it's still currently organizing and developing off the coast. We do want to look at the water temperatures as well off the coast of Mexico. So I'm going to go the East Pacific. There we go. So right in this area is where the system is. So the water temperatures as it moves along the west coast of Mexico will remain more than warm enough to be conducive for a tropical system. There's going to be lots of convection and a lot more time for the system to develop. I really want to look at the forecast models with this system as it continues to move along the coast of Mexico. So again, here's the remnant of Dalila. If we move in through time, we do really, looks like about 2 to 3 days until the storm begins to pop up. Again, here is 2 days out. Here is 3 days out. There it begins to develop and becomes more organized. And then it really ramps up super duper fast. They're moving into southern Mexico. So that's something we have to watch out for. Very warm sea surface temperatures. Again, there's not going to be a whole lot of shear as this storm moves in. As you can see, we're going to actually see what the HWRFs are saying for this system, because this system does impact. In fact, it looks like it's going to intensify and develop rather quickly. So as you can see, there it is. We're going to do the run time at 6Z, one that we get a full run time all the way to coast. Does look like it does intensify relatively quickly, about 980 millibars. We do get a core, we get an eye, we get a condensed storm, small, condensed, and these smaller storms that are more condensed can increase the wind speed as well as decrease the wind speed very quickly. This will also show some of the AI hurricane guidance. This is through Google Weather Lab cyclones. Still a preview, but this is the area that we are looking at right in this area. And there's still a model or two showing that system in the western Gulf of Mexico, but I don't expect it to turn to anything super significant or really even develop at all. So again, this goes all the way out. We may have to watch some more storms there in the East Pac, but really gotta watch this. Very clusters, very close together. That's something that we look at. The more closer they are together, the more that they are in agreement of where this system is going to be going. However, as we look farther into the future, they do begin to spread out a little bit, especially upon landfall. Some of them moving in closer to the bend here, some of them moving farther closer towards Acapulco, Mexico. So that's something that we're going to have to really keep a watch on, is the development of that system, where it goes, and what the models show with it. This gives us a better idea of what all the models are saying, give a better idea of what everyone in the modeling is saying. Again, here's that system right there, just really off the coast there of Costa Rica. Put this into time, begins to make that westward turn. It becomes more developed, it begins to organize, and begins to have a more concentrated area where it's going to move in. But as we get farther out in time, all of the different individual forecast models really begin to spread out over a much larger area. So that's what we're looking at there. And then we may have some more cluster thunderstorms, or more cluster of models showing some more activity in the East Pac. Taking a quick look here in the Western Pacific. Oh my God, there's storms here. It's all over the place. We could very well have some storms, some more storms here in the future, in the West Pacific. Taking a look at, I have another Arctic tropics here. I don't think they're going to show anything for the East Pac, but I do want to go and double check just in case they have anything showing here for the East Pacific. I don't think they do. This is mainly all for the North Atlantic. Although actually they have more different models here. The wind, the Earth. This is good. This will show us exactly what we got these two systems. Again, here is Dalila off the coast of Mexico, off the, well, I would say Manzanillo, but it's more closer to the northeast of Manzanillo, Mexico. Weakening, moving to the west, away from the land, away from the mainland, away from mainland Mexico. However, there's this broader area of rotation that we're noticing down here, and this is what we're keeping an eye out on. And as we move into time, you'll see that rotation become a little bit more easier to see, and it will become stronger. It takes a while before it really gets its act together, but it really seems to really ramp up right before landfall. And again, this is talking about the rapid intensification that we are so very concerned about here at the Hurricane Watch team. And we'll closely watch this, especially going in. There's Wednesday. Fortunately, I worked that day. Thursday, I'm off, so if this does make landfall Thursday, I will be able to do definitely a live stream, which it does look like it will make landfall Thursday. So this is really going to be really interesting to watch. We're going to look at the HAFS model, see what they're showing here. All right. Let's see what we got here. We're going to look at the HAFS A as well as the HAFS B model here. All right, here it is. Again, all the models are going to be in general agreement that right now the storm is not very well developed. It is not very well organized. But that's going to take time as the wind shear dies down and the sea surface temperatures continue to be warm, and it moves into a more environment that is conducive for tropical development. We're going to see this storm organize quickly, rapidly, and we may even see rapid intensification prior to landfall. Something that I really want to emphasize today is rapid intensification is something that we think we could see with this system. Pretty concerning here. So let's take a look at this modeling. So even right here, here it is, off the coast of Costa Rica and Panama, moves northward, continues to move northward, begins to really organize. We start to see more of this banding motion here. Again, that air pressure, 998 millibars, really starting to approach the coast of Mexico there. Right off the coast there, I believe, of Guatemala and Nicaragua. Not very organized. There we start to see more deep convection and thunderstorms wrapping around that center. Then we start to see thunderstorms all the way around that center. Once that happens, then we begin to see that ramp up in intensification. We may even see some lightning around the eye wall as well as a clearing eye, depending on how fast and how well developed the system is at that time. And there it is, between 980 and 990 millibars. Let's do the 6Z is even scarier. This seems would definitely be a doomsday hurricane. Pinhole eye there. Notice how small that eye is. Northeast quadrant seems to be the most intense. Can we actually get a sounding here? Winds are just pretty intense winds here. We look up farther up here. Look at those barbs right here. Look at that. That is really strong at that altitude. Wow. $850 millibar level. We're seeing winds probably 90 knots, I think. And then even perhaps more, closer to 100 knots as you go higher up. But according to this, right at the immediate surface, it looks like a lot lower than it would be. But that's what we're looking at, is the winds could really ramp up really quickly and really fast with this system. But the good news is it would fall apart pretty quickly. So again, looking at the modeling, the system takes a while. It's very disorganized. It's not very well developed. It's not very well put together. It takes a while. We're talking at least 2 to 3 days until this storm really, I would say a good agreeable number, but be about 2.5 days for this storm to really begin to get its act together. And once that does, there we see 84, 92, 96 hours. We really see it ramp up. We get a core wrapping around. We get a core there. We get deep convection and heavy rain eye wall around that center. And then it makes landfall there. 973 millibars, pinhole eye. And again, that's less than 100 hours out at 4 a.m. June 19th. Taking a look at HAFS B. Let's take a look. Yeah, we got HAFS B here. It also shows something very, very similar. Again, very quickly. It develops relatively slowly in the beginning. 24 hours out, it's still just a cluster of thunderstorms. We take a look at 36 hours out. This is a day and a half. Cluster of thunderstorms. Not a lot of isobars. Not a lot of deep change in air pressure over distance. That's what wind is when you have a lot of wind. It is a change in air pressure over distance. There's not a lot of isobars, so we don't believe there's going to be a lot of wind. We go 48 hours. We do see a few more isobars. We see a little bit more convection. But overall, the storm is relatively disorganized. At this time, we might be able to see a tropical storm in 48 hours, or at least a tropical depression. Something that is definitely more organized. We go 72 hours out. That's where we could actually see a hurricane. So we go from 48 hours, not a lot, and then we go directly to 72 hours, and we see 974 millibars, a hurricane, deep convection. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about in these modelings. So 48 hours out, nothing, hardly. We even take a look at 24 hours out, nothing. 48 hours, a little bit better, but then 72 hours, it's even more. And then 96 hours, and then 120 hours, it begins to fall apart a little bit there, right off the coast of Mexico. That's HAFS B. What's the parent shown here? Again, it also shows a really quickly ramping up system. Look at how tiny. Again, notice how small that system is. These systems are very can intensify and weaken very, very quickly. We want to take a look at some more modeling here. This is going to be very, very important here. All right, let's see. Satellites. This must be for, yeah, this is for the Invest model data. Let's take a look at some of this model data. All right, again, the storm is going to take a while. I want to emphasize, it's not going to seem like it's doing much, but about a day or so before landfall, it is just going to ramp up really quickly. Again, not a lot is really going on here. I'm going to hit stop here at the last image. And again, notice how slow it is here. 16th, 17th, and 18th of 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th of June. But after that, even some of the models showing it, which I believe that's the HAFS A that you're seeing that spike at, where it jumps to over 100 knots. I do think that a hurricane is likely with this system. Hurricane next week is definitely likely with this system. But again, moving off the coast of Mexico, a majority of the models have already a generally good idea of the direction that this system is going to go. Sea surface temperatures. Shear is going to drop down. Shear right now is pretty high. That's why we're not seeing a lot of organization with this system. Sea surface temperatures remain above 28 and actually increase closer to 30 degrees closer to the time of landfall. Humidity at the mid-level levels of the atmosphere are under 80%. Through time, that's going to increase 80 to 85, maybe 80 to 85% is also what we're seeing. So, direction the storm is going to go towards Mexico. Intensity, about 2.5 days. Not a lot of changes is going to happen. We may see from the National Hurricane Center, we may actually see this part change of what the odds are of this system increasing in formation over the next 7 days and in the next 48 hours. But again, next 2.5 days is going to be I don't almost say quiet, but the next 2.5 days, there's not going to be a lot of change. After that, we're going to see that intensity go up. Sea surface temperatures going to go up. The deep shear going to go down. That mid-level relative humidity is going to go up. All right. There's a lot to talk about, folks. That's the model diagnostic plot. All right. This is the we want to just take a look at the latest image here. This is the GEFS diagnostic comparison. Again, not very agreeable in terms of intensity. Wind shear, I do think is going to die off a little bit. Sea surface temperatures are probably going to increase, and humidity is also going to increase as well. However, intensity, I believe this could be, we could actually see this intensify into something certainly significant. And it's going to be very compact as well. GEFS, again, I do not agree with this under the GEFS model. So again, yes, very favorable conditions with this system. Does anyone have any comments, questions, or concerns? Again, not a lot has happened. We're going to really see this change over the next several days and possibly over the next week as the storm gets closer to Mexico. All right, folks, let's take a... I need to stop doing that. Ensemble track. All right, here we go. So, again, here we go. 0, 12, 24, 36 hours, 48 hours, this time frame right here. We're not going to see a huge amount of change. We're going to talk about the rainfall as well. Thank you for reminding me. Got to talk about waves, storm surge. You're right. Thank you for reminding me. Got wind hazards as well. There is so much to talk about with this system. There's no wind hazards. Well, we know that there's going to be some wind hazards, that's for sure. Let's see. Hurricane model, sea precipitation. Oh Lord, there's a lot going on here, isn't there? So again, lots of humidity. Look at the rainfall that we're going to be seeing with this system. We're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall with this one particular system here. Lots of heavy rain as well as lots of flooding. I also want to talk about the amount of the waves. How big are the waves going to be? Are we going to see storm surge and stuff as well? That's what I also want to talk a little bit about as well. But I'm actually looking for the wave. Where's the waves? Oh my God, there's so much here. Okay, so we're gonna go to, can actually go to, all the way to the bottom here. So, we want to take a look at the waves because this is going to be very, very important for us. Move this down so y'all can easily see everything that y'all need to see here. So, here we go. Oh, it's a little bit too zoomed in. All right. Again, here it is right down here. It's not going to do a whole lot. Like I said, over the next few days, it's going to be slow, and it's just not going to it's going to take a little bit. But once it does, once it starts ramping up, it's going to ramp up pretty quickly. Here you can see easily those waves beginning to quickly ramp up. They're 10-foot waves of the period of 7 seconds. 11-foot waves. Let's zoom in a little bit to this area here. That's where the core of the system would be. Again, this is the most 100% forecast. This is the GFS model. Again, we're looking at those waves topping off at about 10, 15-foot waves. We go a little bit more in. Those are really going to ramp up as the storm approaches the coast. Then we start seeing 15+ foot waves. If we go in a little bit closer, Salina Cruz, all of these areas right along the immediate coastline of Mexico need to be precautious about about the waves, and definitely about this storm surge that's going to be moving in. And then we're looking 16, 17, 18, almost 20-foot waves. So the core of the storm is probably going to move in over here between these two majors, between the two cities. All right. If we go over to wind, will be a little bit more. Yeah. So it's going to come right here. This is really where you're going to have the worst of the weather is going to be on the east side and northeast quadrant. That's where we're going to see the strongest of the winds, as well as the worst of the storm surge. It says that it's only like 50 miles an hour at the surface, but we know it's not going to be a low-end tropical storm. I think it's going to be a hurricane. Satellite's going to be helpful at all. Rain accumulation. How much flooding could they get? Yeah. Just over the next week. Work week. 5 days. This is the general direction that the storm is going to move into. The direction through here, along here. And then again, once it really gets past Guatemala, there off the coast of Mexico, that's when it ramps up. That's when we begin to see an increase in rain, wind, storm surge, waves, and the intensity of the rain as well. Along some of these areas, seeing 11, 12, 13 inches along the immediate coastline. Even in the mountains, 12 inches. And that keeps going. And that continues to move along into Mexico. And they even see 6 inches closer towards the Gulf of Mexico. So this is going to be a storm system that we're going to have to really carefully monitor. Wind waves. This is interesting. And these waves caused by wind, I guess, like 18-foot waves. It's pretty serious. Sea surface temperature is something else we're going to have to talk about, because it's also very, very important right now based on how warm the sea surface temperatures are. Look at this. 85, 86, 86, 87. Very, very warm very, very warm sea surface temperatures along the entire path of this system. And remember, that you only need 80 degrees Fahrenheit for a hurricane to be sustained. These are 85, 86, 87 degrees Fahrenheit along the path of this system. So it is something we are watching for. Very, very warm sea surface temperatures. Looking at how strong is this storm going to be? Oh Lord, air pressure. Let me just go to, do I not have windy already in here? I thought I already had a windy in here. What the heck? Hold on one second, folks. There we go. We'll just save this right now. Done. Alright, this is better. Okay. So, air pressure. We need... This is millibars or inches of mercury? Inches of mercury. Millibars is going to be a lot easier for us to understand. Let's go to settings and change this right quick. We'll do kilometers an hour. It'll be easier for them to understand right now. Millimeters, waves. Okay. So, here's where we're at right now. The storm is over here. This is the storm off the coast of Mexico that is weakening and falling apart. Don't got to worry about it. It's moving west. Don't got to worry about it. This is the storm we're going to have to worry about. Yes, I get it. Very high air pressure. Not very low. But if we look, this is the Euro model. If we look and put this to time, you'll see, again, 2.5 days out, it's not going to be huge change, really. There's a Monday morning, Monday afternoon, going into Monday evening, overnight, early Tuesday morning. We do see a little bit of some change. Now we're going into Wednesday. Still, again, not a huge change. Only about 1,005 millibars is what we're looking at, even going into Tuesday evening, early into Wednesday morning. Now you're going to start to see this storm really deepen. Those darker blues really beginning to pop up here. Now, again, this is the Euro model. It may be a little bit off, a little bit. We're going to look at the GFS model as well. That's something we're also going to look at as well. But overall, they both agree, they all agree that this storm is going to rapidly deepen upon landfall, prior to landfall. Again, we're showing 996 millibars, which I think is a little on the high end. But if we go to the GFS model, do Thursday, well, that's just showing Thursday evening, a landfall there. A little bit stronger there at about 990 millibars. Do you think this is going to undergo some rapid intensification? For sure. Don't think. There it is. This is the storm that we're watching here. Again, it's at 1,010 millibars. If we click on it, Invest 94E, wind speed 48 kilometers an hour. This is the latest update at 12 hours ago. Pressure pretty high there at 1,010 millibars. Again, a good indicator of how strong that storm is going to be that number. 1,010, really weak. Let's go to a storm that's already named, 999. So it is weak as well, but it is stronger because its air pressure is lower. Tropical Storm Tip, take a look at it. Moving off the coast of China. So, all right. So we're going to also look at the upper level pattern with the winds. We're going to look at a 200 millibar level here as well. So we're going to go to wind. We're going to look at the wind pattern as well at the 200 millibar level. How do you change altitude? Altitude, surface, 900, 800, 600, 500, 400, 300. I'm trying to think of the name of that, where it looks like the rotation. There's a lot of ventilation. Is it called upper level diffluence? Is that the accurate meteorological term? I think it's called upper level diffluence, where you have basically high air pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and it allows for outflow in all directions for the storm. So again, as we see this, we go into Tuesday here. It begins to become a little bit more. Okay, so upper level anticyclone. I've also heard it been called as the upper level diffluence. We go really into Thursday, where that storm is making landfall here. But again, we have outflow here. We have all this outflow moving around the storm. Upper level anticyclone, which is absolutely incredible in all the scary ways. GFS is a lot weaker with it. What other models can we see? Can we see that? No, we can't see that now. That's just for the Caribbean, clearly. The hurricane model is also not. Okay, none of those are going to work. Wow, that is really impressive. So again, we go into Tuesday. We take a look at this. Again, this is the 200 millibar flight level. 39,000 feet is the altitude here. Do we want to look at the worst case scenario? Let's take a look and see what we got here. Oh my lord, 120 knots. That's 100. I believe that's 140 miles an hour. These two models don't seem to be very accurate, as it doesn't get even barely above 20 knots. Oh no, that's the divergence. Storm environment, sea surface temperatures, relative humidity, and shear. Wow. So the gray is the shear, practically non-existent at its worst time. The sea surface temperatures remain pretty warm at Celsius. So I'm guessing that's 30 Celsius, I'm assuming. Definitely not the worst case scenario. I mean, 120 knots. And that's that. I'm guessing these are hours down here, right? These are wind speed, and this must be hours. No, these can't be hours. 75 hours out. The right side corresponds to the blue line, which is the wind. The right side is the wind. Oh, okay. Okay, that's. Oh, okay. See right here. Winds 55 knots. This is divergence, oceanic heat content, and speed. Yeah, winds is gray. No, I'm sorry. Winds is in the blue at like 55 knots. Definitely not the worst case scenario. 50, I was going to say, wow, 120 knots. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's 140 miles an hour. That's pretty serious. Rapid intensification, that's not even 20% chance showing. And I think there's a much higher chance for rapid intensification than they're putting out, than this one model is showing. All right, we're going to look at a storm here. We're going to look at Invest 94E. Okay, so again, here we are, 25. I need to just save all these. When you send them to me, I need to just save them, because this is going to be really helpful in the future. Again, latest information, 10.4 degrees north, 88.4 degrees west, radius of maximum wind, 90 nautical miles. Radius of outermost closed isobar is 120 nautical miles. It probably doesn't have a closed isobar because it's so disorganized. Environmental pressure, 1012 millibars. Air pressure in the center, 1009 millibars. Currently, we're looking at around 25 knots, about 29 miles an hour, 46 kilometers per hour. this is cool. This is some cool stuff here. This gives you all the information you really need to look at here. Actually, I can do full screen, and which would get rid of all that stuff at the top there. It'd be easier for us to see. So this is the satellite imagery. There it is off the coast of I'm trying to think, Costa Rica and Panama, I believe. Here's the latest satellite imagery and tracks. There it is once again. There it is. Not a lot happening right now like we are expecting. ACE, extremely tiny amounts. Very small amounts of cyclone, accumulated cyclone energy. Yeah, the passes are not really showing up with anything. Low level, mid level, and upper level, not seeing a whole lot. We really need to wait for the storm to become more organized and more developed. The estimates for this ATCF gale is in green, which is about 35 knots. Not a lot going with the storm. Category 1, 64 knots. Again, what I want to mention is these storms. It's gonna be slow. It's not gonna take it's gonna take a little bit, but again, 2 to 2.5 days. That's when I expect the storm to really ramp up and move into southern Mexico when it does intensify like they're showing it to. Okay, this is track data. Yeah, so this is... There's so many websites to use, and I love it. We got satellite, we got radar, we got storm sectors, we got practically NextRad, which we'll be able to use for when a hurricane moves into for the United States. This is gonna be great. I love it. I'm just gonna save this right now because I'm gonna need it. There's actually a teeny tiny bit of rotation, but I do want to go back to satellite imagery and take a look at this. Visible. Here it is. Here's the visible satellite imagery of the system. The storm is actually developing relatively and rather quickly. Do we have a GOES? We do not have one for this system. This is actually starting to rotate a little bit unless I'm a little bit crazy. Looks like there's some rotation beginning to... This look like it's rotating a little bit, which is definitely a sign that we need to watch and be careful and monitor this system. Back to the National Hurricane Center. I don't think they've updated anything because I think that was the latest update. That was at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Now maybe when I'm looking at this, I'm just trying to see some stuff. I do think there could be some broad rotation with this system. If we take a look at Invest 94E again. It does look like in these last few frames we're starting to see some broad rotation, especially around this center right here. We might see it Now you can't really see it with the infrared here. That's what it looks like. There's some broad rotations that I'm starting to pick up with this system. All right. Okay, folks, this is interesting. This is going to be important for us to look at. All right, let's see what we got going on here. Almost 2 o'clock. Okay. So we do. It actually looks like it's a closed rotation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it does look like it's a closed low. We do have some stronger wind gusts where we're having a little bit more of the deeper convection, but definitely looks like that. I'm noticing the, it looks like a closed low, but there's so much still going on with the system. I mean, like, oh my goodness. Okay, Zoom Earth. Let's see what Zoom Earth has to say. Maybe we can get some better with this system here. 40% in the next 2 days, 70% in the next week. That's what we're looking at. It's just kind of going all over the place. But if we go to settings, smooth, 6 hours is fine. Again, we begin to see some of that rotation beginning to happen in those last few frames. That's something that I really want to pick up and talk a little bit about. I'm going to turn off the tropical cyclones because it will be easier for us to see what's going on with the system. I know it's a little bit blurry, but I really want to pick up on those last few frames. Notice how it's beginning to rotate. We're starting to see some broad rotation. But if we go back to, not that one, or that one, or that one, or that one. Go back to this here. I'm going to do this here so it's easier for us to, I'm going to zoom in on this too. We notice some of this rotation here. I'm actually going to pull up my my pen. I need to pull up my pen, my Epic pen here. And I need to use this. This will be easier to point out things that I can see that may be a little bit more difficult for the viewers to see here. I guess I can use black, right? Sure, black. And so this is where we believe the center of circulation is. So it's going this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, and this way. So we see that that would be a closed low. If I go to clear here, let me just clear. I'll do this again. So we go here, we got this one, 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 we got this one. And you sort of see all of that, and it begins to make sense that this could very well be a closed low. Now, closer towards the center, it's kind of all over the place. You can't really tell what is what, but it would be going something like this. You see this here, this is here, this here, and this here, this here, this here, this here. So it kind of is all rotating right now, and it looks like that there is certainly some rotation going on with it. Now it is broad. It isn't, but the fact that there is rotation is what we're looking at, is a little bit concerning. All right, what do we got going on here? Oh my lord, this is the halves B. That's 114 knots. That's 130 mile an hour category 4. This is 18. It's the 18Z, so this may be the latest forecast run. Let's go and take a look at the latest forecast track. Let's get rid of some of these models here because they are kind of in my way. All right, let's see what we got going on here, folks. Halves B. Go back to full screen here and go into the future. So again, it's going to take a while. It's going to be slow. It's going to be relatively disorganized. But what we are starting to see with this latest model, this is, no, that's 12Z. We have 18Z out. I don't see 18Z out yet. That's weird. Hold on. Oops. Did I miss something? Probably. Okay. Or was it the parent? No, it had to be the halves B because that's what it said. We're going to just go to and take a look at the upper dynamics, right, for simulated IR satellite imagery. So again, here it is. Zoom in a little bit so it's easier for y'all to see. Just a little bit. All right. There we go. That's a lot easier for y'all to see, right? Move into time. Big cluster, lots of convection. We do expect to see lots of convection with this system. Look like huge. This isn't our current satellite imagery. Again, this is a forecast model on simulated infrared satellite imagery. Then you can kind of see that convection really condenses, lots of banding possible with this system, lots of outflow, lots of strengthening with this system. And we do actually start to get an eye developing there. Again, this is 3 days out. It's a little bit more than 3 days out from now. And look at that pinhole eye pop out. Deep convection, that's a CDO, that's a central dense overcast. Deep convection, we saw this with Hurricane Milton in 2024 as it was moving over the southern Gulf of Mexico. And just look at that pinhole eye there. Lots of deep convection. Rapid intensification, definitely 114, 115 knots, category 4. This would be a catastrophe if this does play out. What about wave heights? Does this show me wave heights? Vorticity, height and wind. Height meaning this shows you altitude, I'm assuming. The vorticity. No, we don't have anything. Again, this is the wind, 114 knots upon landfall. Then even inland, some of the inland cities would still be. Now just notice how compact, how small this system is. I know wave heights is in here. We will be looking at wave heights because this is very, very important to talk about regarding the wave heights because we could be dealing with some very significant storm surge. Looking at the precipitable water, there is going to be a lot of rain. There is going to be probably a lot of flooding, not just from fresh water, but also we're going to be seeing a lot of flooding from salt water. Storm surge moving inland there. See, notice this, how we go this pretty quickly. It takes a while, 2 days, 2.5. Begins to ramp up, 3 days. It looks like it's gonna, and then it kind of does a loop-de-loop here. and then it goes, and then it moves inland. Lots of heavy rain, lots of flooding. Now, what I'm also a little bit concerned about, if this storm, I'm just gonna draw a black line here, moves something like this, it could funnel in some of the winds in through here. That was a terrible arrow, I'll be honest. It moves in through here like this. Let's just say it moves farther east here. But you get some of these winds funneling in the water. There could be a big buildup of storm surge in this part of the bay. That would be very concerning. Something that we could see there with Hurricane, that we saw with Hurricane Michael. That would be very concerning, for sure. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna look at an overrun. My ears are starting to itch out of nowhere. I want to see invest 94E. Oh my god, you got isotherm, heat content, but there's nothing available. Okay, this is better. Okay, that's fine. There's ocean heat content. We put this into motion. It moves actually through really warm waters. Ocean heat content isn't super significant, but the thing is, if it does meander out there for a little bit before making landfall, my biggest, the best thing that could happen is it could mix up enough water that is deeper, that's a little bit colder, that we could actually start to see it upwell some of that cooler water, and I'd actually kind of choke itself out. Which would obviously be a very good outcome if it were to do that, but I just don't know. Wind? Oh, that's wind swath. That's intensity. Do you think this could become a hurricane? Majority of them are only saying a tropical storm, a moderate tropical storm, but based on the proof that I'm looking at, I do think a pretty significant hurricane is possible from what we're looking at here. 10-meter winds. There's so much modeling with this system. So many different models here. Oh my god. Ocean heat content. Sea surface temperature. Sea surface salinity. I can barely even say that. ATC. Oh my god, that's a little bit too professional. Even for me, it's a little bit much. Alright, let's go with this one here. Yes, go to site. Still, I gotta go to the fourth one? 1, 2. That's what? 90S. That's for the south. I click on something messed up. Why is this showing 90S? Uh, 94E is what I'm looking for. Okay. Wow. There are so many models. I could look at these forever. I could look at all these forecasts. This is so cool, dude. Freaking, and then into the Gulf of Mexico. Oh wow, this is pretty cool, dude. What the heck? Teanapek? I think that's how you pronounce it. The Gulf of Teanapek. Wow, this is insane. There's so many different forecasts that I'm looking at and that I'm watching. It's just almost too much. It's like, whoa, there's a bit too much going on here. Oops. Yeah, now some of them all are beginning to pick up on tropical tidbits. Some of them showing category 3. Others, a majority of them, only showing tropical storm. But again, as we go through time, more and more of these models are going to show something more significant. As much as I would love to continue to sit here and talk about the storm and what it's going to do, I do want to at least get 30 minutes of sleep before work. I have work in 2 hours. I have to be at work in 2 hours. So we're going to definitely do more of these live streams, talk more about these systems, because there is a lot that we need to talk about here. Definitely in the future, over the next several days and into the week, there's a lot I got to talk about. There's a lot we've all got to talk about. But right now, that's going to be it for today. Again, thank you all for watching. I don't have an ending outro scene for this. But again, guys, thank you for watching. This has been the Hurricane Watch Team, your source for cyclone information. Take care, stay safe, and one last thing. We have a new video coming out at 6 p.m. Central Time in about 4 hours. It's going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be about the top hurricane mistakes that people make. Please watch it. It's going to be really good. You're going to enjoy it. We're going to have more interesting videos coming out.